I must admit, my memory is terrible. The moment they had this little meeting where they were talking about their goals, what their mission is, they start talking about how they're looking for all these people. I'm like, oh crap. I had to go back to the episode where Roxy initially found the notice from Paul where it actually explains what they're doing. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Everybody's missing. I completely forgot about that. I just thought the letter was saying that Rudy had disappeared, not that the entire family is. I guess for some reason my mind forgot that like that entire area was hit by that mana disaster and that only Norn was accounted for. So essentially Paul gave the letter saying that he had Norn and everybody else was missing. And so they're actually looking for everybody. So I'm like, oh, okay, I forgot about that aspect. So I got caught back up. I'm refreshing my memory and starting to remember things. So yeah, this episode was just filled with a bunch of like, dang it, why can't Roxy get back with the team? Really kind of seeing a lot of things through the perspective of Roxy, which was really fun because they did that whole thing where you essentially get an idea of what these moaning noises were. So we now get a perspective of what Rudy heard. But that was, yeah, I didn't know that this Illanala say, I'm going to call her Illa from now on. This Illa elf lady is like super thirsty. So she's going around just sleeping with everybody while Roxy's trying to get information and Tal is trying to get information. I guess technically she was getting information too, but just in a way more interesting way. But yeah, we get this little perspective of Roxy and all them kind of going around trying to find information. At some point, it kind of hits on this idea of Illa trying to push her to getting some men to court with, and at the same time, she's got these guys that are trying to party with her, and she's like, well, I'm currently working on a rank, and they're like, wait, you're so small and young, what's the deal? And she's like, well, I'm actually a king class water mage, so yeah, she's a lot more powerful than you think she is. But it was interesting because in this little scene with the bar, they had this brief moment where it shows Roxy with a party. And so I'm not sure if this is something that's probably going to come up later, that she used to have a party that she went around with, or if she's just imagining herself having a party. But yeah, they have this little meeting where they talk about the fact that, yes, they have essentially Zenith, Lilia, Aisha, and Rudius that are all missing, and they're all trying to find out where they're at. And of course, they point out the fact that, you know, certain ones of them are probably more in danger than others. Obviously, Zenith can handle herself, so their main focus is Lilia and Aisha first. And of course, Rudius is the other concern. And they bring up the fact that there's a lot of rumors going around that Dead End has returned. There's this party calling themselves Dead End. It appeared about the same time that the mana disaster happened a year ago. So it's like one of those things of like, yeah, technically it hints to the fact that that is Rudius because they're talking about this short mage that is short-tempered or whatever. Kind of hints that that's probably him. But that fear is kind of implanted in her, the fact that this could be a Superd that is this, you know, well-known Superd. And eventually when she does see Eris and Rizurd actually fighting or sparring, yeah, that's where her mind goes, that this is a Superd, he's going to hurt her, and that's why she ran away. But yeah, they did show where Rudy was hearing that moaning voice. It was actually, again, this elf lady kind of having her way with a whole bunch of men, and Roxy blasted them out the side of the building. But yeah, as they're leaving for the next town, that's when we get this little moment where she's trying to push Roxy into, you know, giving her first time away, and she's talking about this romantic thing about being in this dungeon, this guy, this short, skinny boy finding her, and them both finding love as they escape from the labyrinth. When like, okay, yeah, you know who you're talking about. That's all we get from Roxy. That's I guess that's apparently all they're going to give us for now. We got to jump back over to Rudy, and apparently they are smuggling in them to this other dock at Zantport, and apparently in return for smuggling them over there, they have to go liberate some certain smuggled goods. And so when they arrive there, Rudy ends up, well, during the trip, they have this whole sequence when Eris is like super seasick and he has to cast a spell on her to help her, and the entire time she's obviously exposed, and yeah, he couldn't help himself there. Rudy be Rudy. And it's funny because he had this kind of dream idea of, you know, on the ship, you're obviously going to get attacked by a lot of things. There's serpents and squids and stuff. And, you know, you go shipwrecked and you're stuck on an island alone with your loved one. You have this romantic time together, but then no, it's just her puking. But yeah, when they arrive at this port, Rudy ends up leaving Eris behind before talking about the fact that they'll have to get on a ship again. He might do something to her. She's like, well, maybe just once. But no, he goes to this location where they have all the smuggled goods in. There's a lot of really nasty people there. He ends up walking by this large dog that has this emblem on its forehead. Ends up walking by this one cat girl that is obviously being harmed, and apparently she got eventually killed. And then he finally finds Rudyard. They were going to let him take Rudyard out, but yes, that's when Rudyard pretty much points out, look, there's 6 beast children here. They've already killed one of them. I want to kill everybody. Let me kill everybody. He's like, no, look, it's going to hurt the name of the Superds, but he just knows that he's not going to be able to hold Rudyard back. And Rudyard's like, look, you don't have to stain your hands. I'll handle this. Really kind of hitting on this dilemma of Rudy wanting to help him with his name and the name of the Superds, but at the same time, he understands these are some terrible people in here. They're harming people, and he's not going to be able to stop Rudyard. So Rudyard said, look, I'm going to do it myself. You don't have to stain your hands. I'll handle this. And of course, he lets them and starts killing pretty much everybody in there. Rudy goes to take care of the beast people, which, yes, we find out that one of them is dead, unfortunately, and uses his actual beast talk to be able to talk to them, which is interesting. And eventually, Rudyard shows up and kind of pays the respect to the one that he wasn't able to save. As they're leaving, that's when they say, look, there's one more here with us, and it was the dog. The dog was this thing, the sacred beast that they were apparently brought there with. So as Rudy goes back to get him, that's when some beast people show up. Kind of use this weird shout to, disable Rudy. Like, he can't do anything. He can't even talk. And they were claiming that he was touching the beast inappropriately or something like that. And all he was doing was just kind of loving on his fur. The dog was, super happy with him. But, yeah, apparently he wasn't supposed to be touching the sacred beast. So while Rudy's being taken away by this beast guy, and with the sacred dog, this other guy apparently is going after Rudyard and the other beast girls. So it's this little bad situation where if only we could talk, we could explain the situation, but obviously that can't happen because Rudy needs to go to the beast people place. I'm more concerned around, I guess I'm not really too concerned around Rudyard's side because obviously those beast girls will be able to tell him, no, look, Rudyard helped us, he's fine. But it's only about them getting to the tribe fast enough before this other guy does something to Rudy because he wants to punish him at the fullest extent of their tribe. But yeah, fantastic episode overall. Just as usual, that fantastic pacing. Again, I kind of kick myself over kind of forgetting what this whole mission was, which was to find pretty much everybody. I totally forgot that entire town got knocked out, so it kind of helps to know that now, or at least remember that now, just because I'm concerned at this point, obviously, because Roxy and them are going to this other town, while Rudy and them are already at this other port and getting ready to leave to the main continent. But maybe by then, either Rudy will find a message saying that he needs to find everybody else on that continent, or possibly just them going home and then Roxy goes over here and finds somebody else that's missing. Because yeah, with that thought, it's more concerning because of all these others that can't protect themselves, like Lilia, like Aisha, that are just not Zenith or Paul that can actually fight things. I guess my hope and assumption is that Lilia is with Aisha. I seem to remember seeing a picture of them together, so I'm assuming that they're together. But even still, as we've noted with this entire continent, it's not a safe place to be at. Rudy has gone through a lot of crap just by being there, so there is still a lot of concern there. It was fun to still get this continued message about how bad Paul is. I mean, technically, again, going back to that message that was on that board that Paul had wrote to everybody saying, I'm sorry for whatever I've done with you guys, that you don't like me. I will kiss your boots, just please help my family. And it's the same here as they're talking about this whole situation. The two of them are talking how terrible Paul is, and Roxy's like, wait, what did he do? I really hope that one day they'll let me know what he's done that's so terrible. Especially with the Ellen Odyssey, it's like, you would think that she liked Paul, but at the same time, I guess maybe he broke her heart by not sleeping with her or something. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only reason I can see that her not liking Paul. But yeah, like I said earlier, I'm really curious if they'll get into what Roxy was imagining, because it shows her actually with the party. It does say that obviously she left her village 6 years prior, so she has done a lot of things in her time. I'm just curious if there's going to be some sort of storytelling to cover what that deal was with that particular party. Or again, if it was a case of her just imagining herself at the party. As usual, the moral conundrums really kind of sparking up with Rudy. There's always been these pinnacle points in the story. Like we had previously with this certain group that Rudy wanted to work along with rather than kill. It's kind of a similar situation here where Rudy doesn't really want to harm the name of the Superds, also wants to leave it in a peaceful situation, but at the same time, this urge of justice that Rudyard has, he can't really escape it. These are some terrible people, and it has that moral conundrum of you want to save these people, but at the same time, you don't want to cause issues for you in the future. His focus is to get home with Eris, and here we are dealing with a situation that could end up spiraling downhill. Obviously it did, because now we have to deal with the beast people, but again, at the same time, there's a moral issue of leaving these people behind to their death. But again, as usual, really hitting heavy on that stuff. It was a really kind of an intense moment. I'm just obviously satisfied having Rizurd kill all those guys, but at the same time, it was a conundrum there that he definitely was facing. But yeah, fantastic episode overall. Really did enjoy it. More Roxy is always good. Hopefully we get a whole episode of Roxy at some point, but yeah, just loving it to death. It's such a great story. I just love this series so much. But I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. Also in the description, there's a tip button where you can support us directly. And I thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.